The Dominion had conquered 17,000 star systems in less than a century. Their warships blotted out suns, their weapons cracked planets like eggs, and their ultimatums were never repeated. When the Crimson vessels appeared in a species orbit, the choice was simple: submit or perish. Every civilization in the known galaxy had learned this lesson. Every civilization except one. Eleanor Chen stood on the observation deck of the UNSC Defiance, her arms crossed as she watched the Dominion fleet assemble outside Earth's orbital space. Beside her, Jasper Kowalski tapped frantically at his datapad, his face pale in the reflected glow of the alien armada. "That's over 200 dreadnoughts," Jasper muttered, his voice trembling slightly. "Eleanor, they've never deployed this many ships for a first contact. They're not here to negotiate." Eleanor's jaw tightened. "Neither are we." The transmission had arrived 3 days ago, broadcast across every frequency humanity possessed. The message was brief, delivered in perfectly translated English by the Dominion's supreme archon. "Humanity of Earth, you will submit to Dominion authority. You will dismantle your military. You will provide tribute. You have 72 hours. Non-compliance will result in total extinction. The galaxy obeys. You will obey." Every species had obeyed. The Velkari, who had fought for 3 generations before their homeworld was glassed. The Thelonians, whose crystalline cities now served as monuments to Dominion mercy. The Xyrith Collective, who had surrendered the moment the ultimatum arrived, hoping submission would spare them the horrors others had endured. But Earth had not answered. Earth had prepared. "They're hailing us," Jasper said, looking up from his pad. "All channels. They want a response from the UN Security Council." Eleanor turned from the viewport. "Patch them through. Everyone needs to hear this." The holographic display shimmered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Supreme Archon Velnath. His 4 eyes glowed with an ancient predatory intelligence, and his carapace bore the scars of 1,000 campaigns. Behind him, the assembled might of the Dominion Council loomed like living shadows. "Humans," Velnath began, his voice resonating with authority that had broken empires. "Your silence is not defiance. It is merely delay of the inevitable. I have received word that your leaders debate whether to accept our terms. Let me simplify your decision. Look upon our fleet. Look upon the ashes of those who resisted. Then ask yourself what makes you different." Eleanor stepped forward, her image broadcast across every screen in the Dominion fleet, across Earth and to every monitoring station in nearby systems. She wore no ceremonial uniform, no medals of distinction, just the simple gray jumpsuit of a UNSC officer. "I'll tell you what makes us different, Archon," Eleanor said, her voice steady and cold. "Every species you've conquered lived in fear before you arrived. They had already accepted that someone somewhere was stronger. That submission was the price of survival. They waited in the dark, hoping the monsters would never find them." She leaned closer to the camera. "We humans grew up with the monsters. We learned to hunt them. We learned to become them." Velnath's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. Brave words from a species that has barely touched its own star system. "We have conquered galaxies while you were still fighting with primitive explosives. And yet," Jasper interjected, stepping beside Eleanor, "you've never faced anyone like us. Your intelligence reports are incomplete, Archon. Would you like to know why?" The Archon's eyes narrowed. "Enlighten me, human." Eleanor nodded to Jasper, who brought up a tactical display. 3 months ago, you conquered the Drithani Confederation. 2 weeks ago, their entire insurgency network vanished overnight. You assumed you'd finally broken their spirit. We did, Velnath confirmed. "No," Eleanor said. "We extracted them. All 14 million resistance fighters along with their families. They're currently training alongside human special forces on Titan." The council chamber erupted in shocked chatter. Velnath raised a clawed hand for silence. "Impossible. We would have detected—" "You didn't," Jasper continued. 6 weeks ago, the Korvax home fleet mysteriously developed critical system failures just as they were about to execute their scorched earth protocol. They chose surrender to save their civilians. What they didn't know was that we'd infiltrated their command network and given them a third option. Eleanor's expression remained impassive. "They're rebuilding on Mars. 23 billion Korvax, very much alive and very grateful." Velnath's composure finally cracked. "You dare interfere with Dominion conquests? You invite annihilation." "No, Archon," Eleanor said, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. We've been preparing for it. While you were conquering species who feared you, we were studying you, learning your tactics, recruiting your enemies, and building something you've never encountered before. What? Velnath demanded. An alliance of the damned, Jasper said. Everyone you've ever conquered. Everyone you've ever threatened. They all thought they had to face you alone. But humans have a saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. We've been making a lot of friends, Archon. The tactical display exploded with new signatures. Emerging from behind Luna, Jupiter, and the asteroid belt came ships bearing the marks of 100 conquered species. Drethani warbirds flew alongside Korvax destroyers. Thelonian crystal ships hummed in formation with Zerath biological cruisers. And at the center of it all, humanity's fleet. Smaller, cruder, but burning with a defiance the galaxy had forgotten. You wanted to know what makes us different? Eleanor asked. We don't just refuse to kneel, Archon. We teach others how to stand. Velnath stared at the display, his ancient confidence wavering for the first time in centuries. This changes nothing. We outnumber you 50-1. Then I'll give you the same choice you've given 17,000 civilizations. Eleanor said. Leave our space peacefully and we'll let you retreat with your fleet intact. Refuse, and you'll learn why humans became the apex predator of our world long before we reached the stars. Jasper added with a cold smile. Every species you conquered trembled in terror and obeyed. But we studied Earth's history, Archon. We've fought and survived thousands of wars against ourselves. We've faced extinction dozens of times and clawed our way back. Terror? That's just Tuesday for humanity. The silence stretched across the void. The Dominion had never retreated, never negotiated, never feared. But as Velnath looked at Eleanor's unwavering expression, at the armada of the allegedly conquered, at humanity's stubborn refusal to acknowledge the natural order of the galaxy, something fundamental shifted in his ancient understanding. This is not over, humans, he finally said. No, Eleanor agreed. It's not. But today it ends here. The question is, do you leave as an intact fleet or as scattered atoms? The Dominion warships began to withdraw, their massive forms turning away from Earth for the first time in the Empire's history. Jasper exhaled shakily. Do you think they'll come back? Eleanor watched the crimson vessels disappear into hyperspace. Eventually. But next time they won't be facing Earth alone. They'll be facing everyone they ever tried to break. She turned from the viewport, a fierce smile crossing her face. The Dominion conquered the galaxy. Now let's see how they handle a galaxy that learned to fight back. The galaxy had obeyed, except Earth. And Earth had just changed the rules. The end.